Hey guys, what's up? It's Monk and welcome back to Sunken King. So, we left off in the last episode saying that in this episode we're going to be fighting Elana, the Squalid Queen, and this is indeed words that will prove to be true very shortly. So, we'll come down this elevator shortcut that I showed you guys, and this elevator, I don't think it takes that long, but it is one of those boring elevator rides. So, how was your day going? Mine was pretty good. Okay, so, now that we got the formalities out of the way, we can head it. There's a door around here somewhere. There we go. We can head into the Sunken Keep? I don't know. I think this place is called like the Sunken Keep, like the whole area, or it might be like the Sunken Castle, the Sunken City. Anyway, this is the keep of the Sunken Keep area, the Dragon Sanctum, even the Dragon Sanctum Keep. I just, kind of feel like this is the main building of the castle, which would be the keep, so that's probably what we should call it. So first things first, when you get into this area, what I would recommend is put on your silver cat ring, because there are a lot of areas where it can be, you'll take some fall damage. If you don't have the silver cat ring, I believe you take fall damage from that even. So you'll be dropping down a lot in this area, and you will be taking fall damage if you don't have the silver cat ring equipped. So keep that in mind. Now we have to fight these fools. Easiest way to do it is to spam them with dark orbs. It's a bit of a cheesy way. So just keep that in mind. If you're not into cheese in the game, I personally am a huge fan of cheese in the game, because if you didn't know, the game attempts to cheese you a lot. So if you don't mind doing the same thing right back at it, go for it. Okay, so in here there's just a bunch of empty chests. I don't think there's a point to this room. As far as I know, anyway, there's no point to it. Also, if you keep moving the circle around up to the top, there's like an archer or a mage, or, there's some kind of enemy up there, basically, that you can fight if you want to do that. And, there he is. He can actually fire through the little hole as well. Well, screw you, buddy. We're gonna move this, so you don't have a hole to fire through. I guess he still does, in a way. We'll just Dark Orb him to death. I mean, I don't think he can shoot at us. Usually enemies have to be able to, like, have eyesight towards you. Oh, he can shoot us. Okay, cool. Well, yeah. So, like, if his head is behind a wall, I think this is how this works anyway. Like, you shouldn't ask me about Dark Souls advice. I don't know about this game. I don't know anything about this game. There we go. So now we're in here, and hurrah for pointless. Exactly, yes. I don't know if there is a point to that room, but I've seen it, so there you go. Oh yeah, also, if you move this up to the top, what will happen is a bunch of little bugs will come out. Yeah, you can see them, like, escaping. Did I hit one? Yeah, I killed one. Cool. So, we don't really need those bugs, because I have all my weapons upgraded as far as I want it to go. I could upgrade my armor some more, but there's not much point. Like, the armor that I'm wearing, it's not very good defensively. It's good because of the resistances. By the way, the armor that I'm wearing is the Agdane's robe set. Not very good defense, it's not amazing, but the resistances are very, very good, so I would recommend it if you're looking for a set of armor which does not weigh very much, because it weighs hardly anything. That's the main reason I want it, is because I didn't want to have my vitality very high, but I still wanted my stamina regeneration to be good. And if your weight is really high, then your stamina regenerates very slowly, and I personally just hate that. I find it to be very annoying, so I try to keep my weight down, both in this game and in real life. And yeah, I would recommend that if you don't want to have like a hard time when it comes to combat. By the way, these guys are fat rolling, which is kind of funny. I think it's funny anyway. So just dodge roll their attacks, back up, Dark Orb to the face. Very easy. We're also close to a bonfire, so I'm not too worried about, just sipping as much Estus as we need to here, because we will get to a bonfire fairly soon. So we just drop down here, not here. Thank you for letting us know. I'm assuming he's probably pointing out the fact that there's not an illusionary wall there. I don't know if we need a message for it, but the illusionary wall is right there. Cool. There we go. It's part of this wall. I knew that. So we're going to light this one up. And there's like one main piece of loot in this area as far as I can remember. I believe it's down here. I think this is the main lootage that you can get for the pre-boss fight warm-up area. Because we are going to get to a boss fight very, very soon. This bonfire is the last bonfire before that boss fight. Is this it? I think so. I think we're close to the loot. And we will teleport back to that bonfire with our aged feather before we actually start the boss fight, just so we can have like full Estus and full spells and all that. I'm not sure if we'll be using many spells versus this boss, because this boss is very resistant to dark magic as far as I know, so I don't know if spells are like the most productive thing to use here, but we may not. Okay, what's in here? This is it. Okay, this is the Drake Blood armor. And it's the same armor that all of those knights that we've been fighting are wearing, so if you want to know what it looks like, that's what it looks like. I don't personally think it looks amazing. Has pretty good armor rating and all that, but if I wore it, we would be fat rolling and our endurance would regenerate very, very slowly, so I'm not going to. I do have to attune spells here. And put back on our great magic weapon. Now, I believe that this boss only has like a medium resistance to magic, so we're going to try to use Dark Drift here. Don't quote me on that, because I could be incorrect, but I believe that's how it works. I know that she has very high dark resistance. That's why I would rather not use the Black Steel Katana, because it's infused with dark. But we should be able to use Great Magic Weapon. We could even use Crystal Magic Weapon, I guess. We could take off a Dark Orb, and we could try it. I don't usually love using Crystal Magic Weapon, just because it only has one use, and it lasts for like 45 seconds or so, this spell runs out fairly quickly. But in the beginning of the fight, anyway, we can try to just get some free damage off on her, on Elana the Squalid Queen, and, you know, try to get this fight over with. So, this fight is really annoying, and the reason for that is because it's a little bit RNG based, honestly. And I hate that about bosses. Now, a lot of people love to complain about this boss, which I think is kind of hypocritical, because when Dark Souls 2 first came out, like, one of the main complaints, well, I mean, I think the main complaint is that it wasn't exactly like Dark Souls 1. I personally think this game is very improved. I've played through Dark Souls 1 a couple times, and I'm not really much of a fan of this game, but, you know, people have different opinions. There's a lot of people that love Dark Souls 1. There's nothing wrong with that. If you prefer Dark Souls 1, that's fine. I personally, like, love Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls 1 is okay. I like it. I don't love it, though. But along with that, I think a lot of people complain that Dark Souls 2 was a little bit too easy, and the main game, I'll admit, it's easier than Dark Souls 1, you know, mostly because the areas, I don't think there's as much BS. There's no area like, if you know Dark Souls 1, the Anor Londo Archers, where the main problem with that area is just, it's hard to dodge the arrows and not get knocked off and fall to your death. There's not very many BS areas that will just kill you if you don't know exactly what you're doing in Dark Souls 2, and there's a lot of those in Dark Souls 1. So that's the main reason Dark Souls 2 was easier. And also, you know, there's way more bosses in Dark Souls 2, but there are some easy ones, and yeah. So, anyway, what I'm getting to is in the DLC, the bosses are quite hard. So a lot of these same people that were complaining that Dark Souls 2 was way too easy also complained that the Dark Souls 2 DLC was way too hard. So I thought that was kind of ironic. Anyway, we'll head into here, and, you know, the Dark Souls 2 DLCs are hard. They're very hard, and I think that was kind of the point, is the developers realized that a lot of people thought, you know, they're getting ripped off, and the main game was a bit on the easy side, and they're like, you know what, no more of that. The DLCs are going to be hard as crap. Wow, we're doing some good damage. So with 2 NPC summons, right, usually the boss has like super high defense, all bosses, but this boss especially has super high defense, and it's very, very hard to do damage against her. But we are owning this boss, which I'm really happy to see. I'm gonna try to quickly put on our Dark Defense Ring. So this boss will summon skeletons, which are not that bad. But the reason why I said this boss was a little bit RNG based is because this boss also can summon other things. It can summon the pigs from Majula, which are also not that bad. And finally, it can summon Velstadt. Yeah, it can summon another hard boss to fight you. So you can have 2 pretty difficult bosses going against you at once. Now, if she waits a long time to summon Velstadt, you're usually going to be okay. If she summons Velstadt early in the fight, I find that those fights typically end in my defeat. Just because, you know, if you're dealing with Velstadt right away, it can be hard as nails to defeat this boss. Oh yeah, she also, you know, Dark Storms fairly regularly. So I believe she, like, summons regularly. It's based on either a timer or how much damage you've done to her. It's one of those. But whether she summons... Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Alright, well, here he comes. We'll see how this goes. Whether she summons Velstadt or the skeletons or the pigs, I believe is just all up to RNG. So if she summons the skeletons or the pigs, you're probably going to be okay. If she summons Velstadt, well, you know, hope that the fight is almost over and hope that the NPC summons can distract Velstadt or deal with him yourself as quickly as possible. So actually, we should be okay in this fight because Bernhardt and Ellie are still at pretty decent HP. Yeah, we'll be fine in this fight. But I have had fights where she summons Velstadt like right after entering the room, and when that happens, yeah, it can be challenging. So I'm not gonna lie, we got a little bit lucky there. She could have summoned Velstadt right away, and if she did, that fight would have been hard. But she did not, so we were able to get through that fight quite easily. Okay, well that's the smoothest fight I've ever had against Elana. And I'm not gonna lie, the first few times I fought her using a dark infused weapon, which does significantly less damage. I had like a character with much higher stats than this current character, and I was doing like 100 damage per hit with those two phantoms summoned. And you saw in there I was doing like over 200 with my magic dark drift. So another thing to keep in mind is don't use a dark weapon against her. Use like a magic infused. I think fire infused works okay as well. Something like that. Okay, we might want to ring switch here. I'm not sure to what, but I don't believe this next boss uses dark attacks. So, what are we going to want here? I'm honestly not sure. I don't have like every single ring in the game, so I don't have as many choices when it comes to switching. Magic defense, lightning defense. We'll wear the bracing knuckle ring because he does degrade your equipment. So this next boss coming up, he can be a pain in the A as well. He does... We're going to want to attune spells here really quickly. He does in fact degrade your equipment, which can be very irritating. So this looks like a decent setup, I guess. I'm mostly going to try to just blast him from a distance with spells. I would recommend summoning these two followers. Now, I'm going to give you a warning. If you summon the two followers, as long as you know what you're doing, this fight is not very difficult. And it is the final boss of the DLC. There's also one optional boss that we haven't showed yet. But if you want this fight to be challenging, don't summon these two followers because they make it quite easy. That previous boss that we just defeated, she can be difficult even with two followers if she summons Velstadt right away. Trust me. Even with two followers, you're going to be in a world of pain if Velstadt gets summoned right off the bat. But with these two guys, they really do make the dragon... We're going to be fighting the dragon, by the way, in case you didn't know. Cat's out of the bag now. It does become quite easy with these two followers, so just keep that in mind if you want the fight to be a challenge. If you want to die like 5 times in a row, go for it solo. The fight is very, very hard solo. I have tried it. I have not beaten it solo, and I don't think I've even gotten particularly close. So yeah, just keep that in mind. The problem with solo is he does degrade your equipment like very, very quickly, so you're going to want repair powders for this fight. So the brilliant thing about these two phantoms that we summoned is Eddie anyway. I don't know about Fiva, but Eddie will heal himself. So this dragon does a ton of damage, and he will like heal the phantoms relatively quickly, but Eddie will heal himself, and he has a ton of health, so he's like just an amazing tank against the dragon. And he just generally does work. I've never had Fiva survive this fight personally for me. I've seen like videos where she survives, so I know it's possible, but I've never had her survive personally. She usually dies like actually very fast. So she can do some work. Like she can also heal. I believe she can heal herself as well, yeah. So you saw Eddie just took Fire Breath to the face, and like he's not even phased by it. Abbas Fiva will cast Sacred Oath, and if you're close to her when she does it, it'll buff you, so that's really handy. She's just generally a really good Phantom if you can keep her alive, but keeping her alive is often more difficult than it sounds. Okay, she just did like a massive heal and healed herself for half her HP, so that's very handy. You also want to stay out of that green cloud stuff because that is toxic, and toxic is like poison on steroids. So if you get hit with toxic, it's not going to be bueno. Like, you're not going to be enjoying it. So how this guy does degrade your equipment is by hitting him, because I guess the story behind that is his scales are so tough that they degrade your equipment quickly. So if you are a mage, it's not as quick. Dude, she has some powerful spells. This is crazy. So usually what I'll do is the first half of the fight will go fairly smoothly because we'll have Fiva. Yeah, Fiva's about to die. We'll have Fiva and Eddie and me, and we're all just going hard on this boss. So usually the first half of the boss goes fairly quickly, and then the second half of the boss is a little bit of a stall fest because Eddie can only hit the boss when he's on the ground, and this dragon loves to fly. He loves to fly a lot, and I'm using Dark Orbs, which don't have very good range or tracking, so it's hard to hit the boss when he's flying, I'll just say that. Even though I'm not a sword and shield melee-based character, I essentially am limited by those same factors because the dragon has to be on the ground for me to do any damage to it. And I have to be fairly close to the dragon because, you know, Dark Orb just doesn't have very good range. So you can get in melee distance if you want. That's one way to do it. Okay, Eddie, I know you can heal yourself, and I really need you to heal yourself. Otherwise, we may have to do a second attempt on this boss, which would be kind of annoying. I've never had to fight this boss more than once when I use the Phantoms, because Eddie in the past for me has always been really good about drinking Estus and keeping himself alive during this fight, so hopefully he's not doing a great job of that right now. We'll just say that, so hopefully that will change soon. Okay, we lost our target there. Oh, don't want to get hit by that. So his spear, the spear in the dragon's body can hit you relatively easily, and if it does, you gotta watch out, because that thing does a ton of damage. And he can also hit you with his face, and generally, like, this dragon just has a lot of ways to damage you. Maybe I could try this without Fiva, and the dragon would have, like, less resistance, so I would be able to do damage to it a little bit easier. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not, because Fiva does make the first half of the fight so much faster. Okay, so now we're just in for a massive stall fest, so hopefully you guys are down for, like, you know, another 10 minutes of this, because this is how the fight goes when Fiva is dead. It's really hard to hit the dragon. So one strategy you can use, of course, is use miracles. Use miracles to keep Fiva alive. And then the fight is significantly easier if you're able to successfully do that. There we go. Finally got a correct dodge. Because as you can see, Eddie just can't do anything with the boss. I feel kind of bad for him, but he's limited by the fact that, you know, he's only able to use melee, so he doesn't give her many opportunities. So as you might be able to tell, this boss is extremely frustrating as a melee character because it just flies around and you hardly ever get to hit him, and he has so much health that can be very annoying. Just land on the ground for a while, come on. He does occasionally have cycles where he'll just, you know, chill out on the ground for a while, and Eddie can get some hits in, you can get some hits in, and everyone's happy. Doesn't look like that's happening right now, though. So, there we go. I'm not really a fan of this boss. If you could, yeah, you know, I'm not super hyped to be here right now. I think I would rather fight, like, the other two bosses, they're definitely much more difficult than Sin the Slumbering Dragon, at least if you use summons. But they are, like, just not nearly as much of a freaking stall fest, so they don't take 20 minutes just running around in order to beat the boss. He also has, like, you know, 6 or 7 turret points on his body, it feels like, that you can... Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh dearie me. We're toxic. And the taste of our lips is poisonous at the moment, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so he's like 2/3 dead, roughly, right? And Eddie looks like he's over half health, which means that Eddie has been doing a good job of keeping Estus up and healing himself, which I'm a fan of. So Toxic, you know, it's again just poison on steroids, so you deal with it the same way you deal with regular poison. Well, the same way I deal with regular poison anyway, which is pop life gems. Except for Toxic, you have to pop like 3 or 4 life gems. With poison, you only have to pop like 1 or 2, so it just requires popping more life gems. That was stupid. I should not have, you know, risked trying to shoot there. Whoa, that was cool. He did like that dog thing where dogs always circle before they sit. Except he did it with fire. I've never seen a dog do that before. Okay, man. We could really use you on the ground. I was expecting him to like swing his head at me, which is, you know, what he normally does. Except that was not the case here. Alright, Estus is getting a little low, but we still have like a ton of life gems, so as long as we don't like get comboed out, I'm not too worried, because this dragon, while his attacks are difficult to dodge, they don't do like the most damage in the world. It's usually like half your HP, and maybe that is a lot of damage. Maybe it's kind of funny saying like, oh, only half your HP, that's not that much damage, but it doesn't feel like it compared to, you know, there's a lot of bosses in this game which can bring you near death or straight up one-shot you, so yeah. So we have one more Amber Herb, which restores some spells. So I just gotta watch out for this swinging tail. He is so close to dead. And I'm so ready for this fight to be over. Is that it? That's it, folks. That was Sin the Slumbering Dragon. And that is the final boss for this DLC. And it only is 72,000 souls. All that work, man? Come on, son. Like, the first time you fight the Giant Lord, I think it's more souls than that. And the Giant Lord you can kill in like a minute, and this guy takes like 15 minutes, at least with the setup I was using. So that's the strategy I use against the Sin Slumbering Dragon. I've never lost against him using this strategy. So, you know, you just shoot dark orbs or whatever spell you have from a far distance, bring lots of Amber Herbs, and let Eddie tank him for the most part, and it's very, very easy. So now we have a couple of choices. We can do the last boss of this DLC, and what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt the last boss of this DLC one time, and only one time, because the optional boss is a piss take, and essentially you use NPC summons for this boss, just like you would use for any of the other bosses that I've done so far, but the NPC summons have to survive, as far as I know, to have a successful fight. You can solo this boss, but I do not know how. I'm not the right person to ask for how to do that. I just straight up don't know. So if you want to fight this boss, you have to keep your NPC summons alive, and keeping your NPC summons alive is a lot harder than it may sound, because they get wrecked. Okay, so we'll probably want, I don't know, man. We'll try the old Leo ring. I think I know the Dark Drift has a stabbing attack. Does this one have a stabbing? I know it does in its two-handed move set. Whatever. I guess we'll just try Dark Drift here. Okay, let's go in here. Also, by the way, I did unlock this bonfire. I had planned on recording this boss, but due to some frustration issues, I decided, I made the executive decision to, instead of adding that part in, you didn't miss much. I essentially showed the path to get to this boss, and unfortunately we're not going to be showing that, but there's a key that you have to grab, the Eternal Sanctum key, and then that opens the door when you first get in the keep, and I really do apologize for not showing it. It's just, I tried this boss a couple times on camera, and unfortunately these two guys here, which, for the method that I use to kill these bosses, by the way, are absolutely essential. They just died so fast that I got swarmed by the bosses, and I say bosses because there's 3 of them. So yes, it's essentially a 3-on-1 if you try to fight them all at once, or it's a 3-on-3 if you use these 2 summons and try to make the fight a little bit more fair in your favor. So just keep that in mind. If your NPC followers die, you get essentially destroyed. Because I personally have not found a good way to defeat this boss with the NPC followers dead. So yeah, I just got destroyed. I died. I got kind of frustrated, and I was like, you know what? We're not going to upload this because it's just not good viewing. So we'll take out this fool. Oh, no, I got hit. That's okay, we can life gem. There's only 3 enemies up here, so this area isn't particularly brutal, but it gets worse. So usually what I do for this next area down here is adios, amigos. You just run. All these statues will try to petrify you, but you see my petrify meter going up pretty slowly. That's because with the equipment I'm wearing, I have very good petrification resistance. However, you might not be in the same boat. You might be wearing different armor that doesn't have amazing petrification resistance, and you might be getting absolutely destroyed by these guys. So you might want to wear, like, you know, a ring that helps resist petrification. If you are having trouble with this area, that's the main thing I could recommend. Petrification ring, something like that, right? Okay, so these worms are, or there's only one of them, so I should say this worm. This worm is my own. And yeah, we just want to take out this guy, and then these 2 lance guys, and that should be it for the enemies before the boss, and then we can just go straight into the boss. One more hit on this fool should take him out, and then we can take out the worm, and then we should be good. There's a couple of these tortoise guys as well. Just like the poison tortoises, it's the same deal, except this time they have petrified statues on them instead of poison statues. Again, with my equipment, it's really not... What are you doing, Andre? It looks like he took almost no damage from that. These NPCs have so much health, it's ridiculous. So, the regular enemies don't really hurt them that badly. Unfortunately, the same does not hold true with the boss of this area. The boss that we're about to go into and fight can, you know, screw the NPCs up. I'll just say that. Oh, I didn't mean to drink an Estus, so well. Oh yeah, I was going to use Dark Drift, I forgot about that. Well, we just wasted a dark weapon, but that's okay. So we'll buff up our sword. I used Dark Drift and it wasn't doing that hot, so that's the reason why we're... I used Black Steel Katana and it wasn't doing that hot against these bosses, so that's the reason why we're going for Dark Drift here. So, the idea here is you want to get... Damn it. You want to get your NPC summons focused on these bosses here, and you do not want the bosses focused on you. And if you can get that done, then you're okay, you know, you're in good shape here. Knock it off, man. Okay, so I'm gonna have to drink up. Now we have to be fast because your NPC summons will die rather quickly, and when they die, you are in trouble, man. So if your NPC summons die, and if they do die, we'll probably just say screw this boss, because I don't know how to beat it, honestly. If I can't do enough damage to get these foes down fast enough so my NPC summons live. This will be my last attempt. So essentially what you'll see in the next episode, regardless of what happens here, is we'll move on to Iron King DLC probably. So you'll be seeing that. It looks like Andre is getting freaking messed up left and right. So I'm just cornering this guy and spamming him with Dark Orb. This is the best way that I personally know to take him out. But this guy is kind of a pain if you don't take him out quickly, because he'll just stand in the back and great bow you to the face, and he'll stagger you constantly, and it's a nightmare if you don't deal with him. Okay, so now that he's down, you want to be fast here, right? You want to be fast. Like, the whole idea of this boss fight is you want to be fast. Now you want to focus on Katana Guy, and you want to get him down as soon as possible. So both of them are focused on Andre, so Andre's gonna die quickly, in fact. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh no! We're out of spells. Okay, so I'm gonna have to melee from now on, for a little while anyway. Andre, get out of there! Okay, Katana Guy and Havel Guy are focused on me. No! Get away, get away, get away, get away, get away, get away, get away. Okay, Andre's about to die. I'm hoping that, Atlas can take Havel, so I don't have to... If Havel comes on me, man, we can be in trouble. Okay, Havel is focused on me. Alright, so what we're gonna have to do is run past, and we're gonna have to 1v1 these guys, right? So, I'll take one, Atlas can take the other. Atlas will cast spells at a distance, and he just straight up does not do... Okay, cool. Havel is on Atlas. So, now we can 1v1 these fools. Oh crap, we're bleeding. So we want to back off here, get him to swing a couple times, and then Estus. Oh my gosh, I'm getting wiped by this fool. Alright, so I really want to get my spells back. I don't have any herbs on my quick bar at the moment, so I'm gonna have to like try to jump into my inventory in the middle of the fight. I just want to take out the grave robber first, you know. I tried to parry him. I went for it. It did not go well. Oh no, I missed the backstab. If I had gotten that backstab, that would have been so good. So this katana guy is like super fast, and he also causes bleed, as you can see. Oh, I missed the backstab again. Okay, I'm like up to here with this guy right now. So I do not know how to kill this guy without spells. He's not like, okay, finally we got a freaking backstab. Oh, I do have a herb on my bar. Fail. But the problem is we stalled so much that, yeah, this fight is, it's now 2v1, and when it's 2v1, typically that means you're done. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I will attempt to get this fight done still, but usually 2v1 is a death sentence as far as I can tell with these guys, unless you know some like tactics that I don't know about. But I found 2v1 just to be kind of like suicide, honestly. So I am getting some hits in on the grave robber. Jump down to the water. Okay, I mean this is going all right. I have no stamina, and I need to back away. I also have no Estus. So yeah, the problem is I did not kill the grave robber fast enough, which means that Havel had time to take out my NPC summon, and I honestly just kind of effed this fight up. If I knew how to kill the grave robber, well, if I knew how to parry, I could kill him, but I don't, unfortunately. And that has led to bad places. Okay, so we're just going to run around, we're going to life jump a couple times, and then we're just going to try to get occasional dark orbs off on the grave robber, and then we can finally take Havel on one-on-one. And he's still a challenge, but he's at least beatable one-on-one. Not so much two-on-one. Oh, I really wish you didn't dodge that attack, man. I really wish you didn't dodge that one either. So if you just do some decent damage to the summons, which I showed like a really bad example of, or do a decent amount of damage to these bosses, which I personally, you know, showed a terrible example of in this fight, then you can keep your NPC summons alive long enough. That should kill him. Yes, okay, we're down to 1v1, me versus Havel. I'm going to need to heal up, so I just need to back away from him. So one thing is, I would not recommend meleeing Havel, and the reason for that is because he is fast. He has a ton of stamina, he has a ton of poise, so unless you can parry him, I think you can only parry him like when he's one-handed or something like that, it's difficult to parry him, essentially. So what you want to do is get him to swing, back off, Dark Orb. This is very slow, it takes forever to do, and he will get his shield up. Oops. Alright, well I didn't mean to drop down into the water, but we'll take it. Okay, he's into the water as well. So this fight may take a while. If I ultimately result in victory anyway, it will take a while to eventually reach that. So you can, you know, do the old method where you just kind of dodge roll around him, stay close, dodge roll constantly, get Havel down, whittle him down eventually over time. That's one way to do it. I prefer the Dark Orb method just because I have a lot more experience killing, you know, NPC invaders this way, and this guy essentially is just an NPC invader on steroids if you think about it, so this is a pretty effective way to deal with him. There we go. So just make sure you get your dodge rolls down. Like that Dragon Tooth does a ton of damage and it pancakes you if you get hit by it, so I'd really recommend not getting hit by it, if at all possible. He'll try to Estus here, and unfortunately we can't do a whole lot to stop him, but luckily that Estus is like an Estus for us. It heals about the same amount of HP, and he has way more HP than us, so it doesn't really have the same sort of, you know, awesome effect that it would on you or me. Okay, so he will probably drop down into the water here. I need to find a way out of this water. Uh-oh. 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 This was the wrong way. Where is the way? There's got to be a way out of this water, man. Here it is. Okay, cool. I don't know where Haviland. I don't see him anywhere. Or, sorry, his official name is Ancient Explorer, or Ancient Soldier Varg. Well, if he's not going to join the party, I'm just going to use this opportunity to use an herb or a herb. And, you know, get some spells back so we can finish him off. It looks like I almost am staggering him a little bit, which is surprising. Okay, a couple more hits. There we go. Man, I'm actually going to beat this fight. I'm so happy about that. Woo! That was way harder than it needed to be. Okay, so moral of the story is don't do what I do. Actually kill these guys relatively fast. Have herbs on your quick bar so you can restore your spells so that you can kill them fast. Or get good with melee and learn how to parry. That's like the best way to deal with them. I'm just a failure when it comes to that. And we beat all 3 bosses in one video, so that's a plus. And I promise you there were a couple of deaths. I didn't beat that boss my very first attempt. There were a couple of deaths. I just chose not to show them because... Wow, that guy almost looked like he was in color. Because I don't know. So what I will do really quickly here, I guess, is I'll show where to get the key for this area. Just so you guys know, because I honestly do feel bad, like, calling this a walkthrough and then not even showing you how to get here. So I will show how to get here really quickly, and I'll also show the key, how you get the key to this area, if anyone is curious on how to do that. Okay, so how you get to this area is, oh, nice, I didn't even realize there's an item here, but here you go. Okay, so, I think that leads somewhere else. Yeah, that's later. That's a later area over there. So we're actually going to have to go back to the bonfire. There is some stuff you can do over there. I think there's like a couple items that you can grab, stuff like that. I'm not too worried about it because, you know, since this is one of the last things we're doing in the game, all we have left is 2 DLCs. Because of that, I don't necessarily feel like we have to grab all the items just because we're not going to get much use out of them. Like, we're almost done with this walkthrough. We're almost done with the game. So there's very little we actually have to do, mostly just a couple boss fights in the other 2 DLC areas. So there's just not much left to do, and therefore grabbing every single item feels like a bit of a waste just because I'm not going to be bringing this character in a new game. So this time we go all the way down, right? Yeah. Okay, all the way down. And how you get here is you cross this bridge when you come to it. Yeah. Punny, I know. And these 2 fools, you want to get them, like, kind of staggered out, if that makes sense. You want to get them so that you can dodge roll past like that. Or you can fight them if you want. They do have shields, so I would not recommend it. But if you want to do that, you can. And this door opens with a key that I'm about to show you where to get. So you climb up this ladder, and hopefully we don't get knocked off. Occasionally these witches can knock you off the stairs. Just make sure you have like some stamina, because if you lose all your stamina when you're on the ladder, then you fall. You climb up that ladder, you climb up this ladder, and there should be just a bridge that leads to that bonfire that we were just at. There was also some bugs that drop down from the ceiling, so be aware of that. You cross this bridge and there will be an invader the first time you do it. He's very easy to defeat. What I do is I just Dark Orb him, which is kind of how I cheese almost everything in this game, but just Dark Orb him, he's very easy to kill, and here you are. So how you get the key to that area is you go to the Dragon's Sanctum. We're going to go to the hidden bonfire in the Dragon's Sanctum, and I'll also show you how to open up this one. So where we got that dragon key, no, not at all. This is the wrong bonfire. Hidden Sanctum Chamber, that was it. I got my hidden sanctum chambers mixed up, man. I went to the wrong hidden sanctum chamber because there's two. So, how you get this bonfire open is you hit this switch here. So you have to be on that stairwell down here. This is the stairwell that leads to the areas with all the giant dragon dudes and to Jester Thomas. You just make sure you turn around and hit that switch, and then you can jump over this piece of broken bridge here. And when you do that, that will lead to good things, and the bonfire. But you have to hit that switch first, because otherwise there's going to be like a stone wall blocking your path here. And I ain't talking Jackson. So now we kill this guy. Or I guess technically it's a girl, probably judging by the hair. Yeah, just kill her. Oh, and don't get poisoned like I just did. If we die here, though, it's not terribly important. And you want to go into the area with all of the armors that you can break. And there will be that key. It's called an Eternal Sanctum key. Ouch. I might just want to take a death here. I don't care. I have a Ring of Life Protection. Yeah, there will be Eternal Sanctum key right here. I do have a Ring of Life Protection. Yeah, so we're good to die. Right where I showed that. That's the key. That opens up everything. And again, I apologize. I'm not showing me going through this process on camera, but the reason why is just because, well, we were dying a lot and it wasn't very fun. Alright, so that does it for this episode. That does it for the Sunken King DLC. Got it done in just 2 videos. All bosses complete. Not all items obtained. I did get most of them though, so hopefully that'll work. And in the next episode, I'll see you with probably the Iron King DLC. So until then, farewell.